Hey, man.
What's up?
Have you ever heard of Mike Malloy?
Mike Malloy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe Michael Malloy.
Mike Malloy? No, I know his son Draco.
You might have...
Draco Malloy?
What about Mike the Durable or Iron Mike or Irish Rasputin? Maybe the Juggernaut. Or this is my favorite, the Murder Trust.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I heard of.
Heard of that one.
Yeah. What is this? Is this a local wrestler?
Is
this one of those guys that like does backyard wrestling?
It sounds like it. It sounds like it. No, it's not. It's a... you know what? I think this is better if I don't tell you.
Fiddle Off.
Sprinkled on a little bit of rat poison as if it was like a vinaigrette.
Did you say innocent and then describe a murder? You know that guy that crawled in the fire yesterday?
We've been trying to kill him for months. He won't die.
What's that episode of SpongeBob where he makes that really nasty looking Krabby Patty? You know exactly what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's got to look worse than that, right?
Things I learned last night.
What if that was the whole episode? What if it's like, yeah, actually, this one's better if you don't know.
My life was better before I knew. And so I figured, let me just say,
okay,
I won't tell you.
Sure, let's go in blind.
Yeah, let's go in blind. Okay, so it's the year is 1933.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's just February.
Yeah, well, a couple years after the Great Depression.
The height of the Great Depression.
Are we still in it?
We're still.
First of all, we're still in it.
It's never ended.
Yeah. No. When did the Depression officially end? What was the? Do we know?
I'm sure.
Like
someone knows. I don't know if we know.
When did someone go? It's over.
From 29 to 39. It was the war. The war gave everyone a lot of money because a bunch of companies profited off of war, as always.
Wow.
That's the thing. So. This is the middle of the Depression.
Okay.
Really, I guess the early middle of the Great Depression.
Yeah.
New York City.
The Depression's teenage years. What is that? How old is the Depression in human years? What is that in human years? Every year of the Depression is like 8 years. So
okay, so at that point, the Depression would have been 4 years old, and so it's about a 7-to-1 ratio, right. Dog years to
so it's
human
about 28.
years.
It's about our age.
Yeah, so the Depression is as old as us at this point. So pretty wise. Its brain is fully developed at least.
That's great.
So it's New York City, 1933, February, the Bronx.
Okay.
There's this group of guys, right?
Yeah.
You ready? Tony Marino, Joseph Murphy, Francis Pasqua.
Oh, this guy's
Hershey
a mobster.
Green, and Daniel Kreisberg.
Who are we talking about? Mike?
We're talking about Michael Malloy.
Malloy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a gangster. He's a mobster.
And this group, obviously, they're a group of dudes in the Bronx in the Great Depression, and they're friends. Also, what's going on in the middle of this era is...
The only people who had friends in the Depression was the mob. Everyone else was on their own. Everyone else was trying to figure out how to make it through the Depression. The mob was
they were fine.
Doing okay.
Yeah, those are a lot of mob names.
Yeah, dude. What was the first one?
Tony Marino?
Yeah, dude.
That's some pretty
the mobbiest name I've ever heard,
That's
dude.
a very mobby name. So Tony Marino, he owned a speakeasy. This is the middle of the Prohibition.
Oh, yeah.
And so I wonder how correlated the Prohibition and the Great Depression were. Anyways,
well, I'll tell you what. It was horrible depression, and people couldn't drink during it. So it's like, well, I just did a cave tour the other day.
Prohibition was the 1920 through 1933. So
wow, dude, they got like a couple years into it, and they were like, you know what? Remember what we said about that?
We should drink again.
Not until the Depression is drinking age, and it is finally 21 in depression years. No, I went on a cave tour the other day, and the caves were used as the.
As a speakeasy.
Yeah, did they do it in a cave, or did they have like
No,
was it
it
one of
was
those cool ones like under a barber shop or something?
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
It's in the Bronx. So these guys, they're a group of friends. And the Depression obviously was a difficult time financially for a lot of people.
We should make alcohol illegal again, just because I want to see where the speakeasy pop up in current world.
Just because you're curious.
Yeah, just like inside a mattress firm.
Underneath the Wendy's.
You know? Yeah, dude. Can I get the 4 for $4? You know? Can I get a vanilla frosty? And then like the drive-through just opens up. Anyway.
It's like anyways. Okay, so Tony Marino was running the speakeasy.
He's got a speakeasy.
He's got the speakeasy. And the Depression was a tough time for a lot of people. And a lot of people turned to some nefarious options of making money because a lot of people were struggling making ends meet. So some people got into some petty theft. Some people got into some robbery. A wide array of crimes were being committed by people who were in desperate situations. And this group, they said, you know what? We're above that. Robbery, theft, things like that. You're not going to make much money off that.
Yeah.
A couple $100 tops. They're like, we need to go after some like.
We need
big
a real
cash.
enterprise.
Yeah, and so they got together and they started doing a little fraud.
Just a light fraud.
A little bit of light fraud.
Okay.
Some insurance fraud.
I do love a little bit of light fraud. Was it insurance fraud?
It was insurance fraud.
Was it really?
Ironically, the 30s was the fraudiest insurance period in history for a couple of reasons. Historians think it was, one, the Depression was happening, and so a lot of people were desperate, and insurance fraud was one of the easier frauds to commit, especially because at that time...
Well, also in 2020, more fraudulent checks had been cashed in 2020 than in the entire 2 decades before that.
Dang. When things get tough...
People
fraud.
People fraud.
Afraid people fraud people.
Yes. I had that motivational poster up there. You know?
Afraid people fraud people. Okay, so but they also think that the insurance agents, the salespeople, were getting commissions, and they were like, I'll turn a blind eye to what I'm pretty sure is some insurance fraud, so I could get commission off that. Yeah. But there was also really lax regulations with insurance in that era.
Okay.
And so a lot of new regulations respond out of this era. One of the bigger ones being the person who was having an insurance policy taken out on them did not have to be present at the time of sale. So I could just take out an insurance policy on you, and you didn't have to know. And then I could go kill you and be like, hey, he's dead. And then I would get the money back because they were just like, yeah, I'm sure this guy is... I'm sure this guy's okay with this. I'm sure he knows you, and
could
everything's
you
fine with
kill
that.
me and then take out the insurance?
You'd have to be pretty fast. You'd have to get that work done pretty quick.
Could you run me over with your car and then take out an insurance policy?
But wait 2 months to
Wait
say
2
anything.
months for the insurance to kick in, and then claim the insurance on that.
You'd have to do some serious embalming and make sure
On
like
that fixed
you never
arm.
decayed a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you could pass it
What are
off as a
some
fresh
We
death,
should start scamming, dude. We should we should start taking a shared note on our phones. And anytime you think of a good scam, let's just put it in there.
that's a good scam.
That's a good scam. Like a good scam.
So these guys were like, hey.
Yeah. Who were they taking
Insurance
insurance
fraud.
out on?
Well,
Were they killing people?
it started off...
Started off pretty normal.
It started off innocently enough.
Okay.
With one of the guys was dating this girl. It wasn't going great. And so they said, hey, what if she just got pneumonia? And so what they did is took out an insurance policy on her, opened up the window. It's December in New York. Dumped a bunch of water on her. Got her really drunk first so she wouldn't notice. Got her really drunk, dumped a bunch of water on her, and just let her die overnight. Called up one of her hospital
just
friends.
froze to death?
Yeah. Called up one of their doctor friends and was like, hey, we'll give you a piece of the pie if you say it was like just pneumonia. And he was like, okay. And so he signed it off, and they all
Is
took
that
off
how
a
people
little
killed
payout.
people? Was just get them drunk
Get them cold.
and just douse them with water.
Well, they said they wanted it to look, if anyone was going to look into this, they wanted it to look natural. And so they didn't want there to be any like evidence of strangulation or a struggle or anything like that. And it was a pretty natural looking death. She got drunk, left the window open, got a little wet, froze.
Jeez.
And so, and they got away with it.
So the first one they did was murder. I said, did they start murdering people? And you went, well, it started pretty innocent. Is that the word you used? I don't remember exactly what you said. Did you say innocent and then describe a murder? Because that's what it seems like.
I might have.
I think it started pretty innocent. The first guy was just his girlfriend. Just some poor girl who had no idea. And, got her drunk, dumped some water on her, and just left her for dead.
It just left the window open.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess it wasn't that innocent.
Yeah, it started at murder. I thought you were going to be like, it started pretty simple. Like they just, put a cast on an arm that wasn't broken, had the doctor be like, and then, they collected some insurance money.
No,
they went straight to murder. Didn't even pass go and collect $200. They just went straight to murder.
I will say, I don't think that was where it started. I think there was some other light frauds that they committed before this. I think this was where there was a pivot point.
Okay.
When they realized, hey, we could kill someone and people wouldn't notice.
But that's also in the 30s.
Yeah.
You could just do that anyway.
It's true, yeah. So then they started thinking, well, hey,
what if
we could take out a few more insurance policies on somebody. If they didn't know, we could get a bunch from different financial organizations, get that to add up to a bunch of money,
and then kill somebody.
And then make off with a bunch more money, because I think they made $2,000 off of that girlfriend's policy, which was, I don't know,
during the Depression.
Yeah, let me check.
Still, that's a good chunk of change in the 30s. That's probably about $40,000.
Yeah, but even still, like that's not. You're splitting this between 5 guys, 6 guys.
Sure.
So yeah, it comes out to $33,000.
Oh well, hey, I was pretty close.
So, but then you're splitting that 5 ways. So everyone walked away with like a month's rent.
Okay.
So it really wasn't that significant of a murder. And so they were like, how can we make some more money off of this? And so they started devising this plan. But
also, you got like 5 other guys that you got to trust.
Yeah. That's why it's called the murder trust. You got to trust them.
Oh, that's what we're going to get. That makes sense. Okay.
So then the plan was, hey, let's take this out. A bunch of different financial institutions on the same person. We'll create a fake identity for them. And then we'll kill them. Plant the identity, like the ID cards and stuff, on them after they died. Let them get discovered. There's the ID cards. And then whoever is the fake sibling or whoever took out the policy will have fake ID stuff. They'll go collect, and then we split the cash.
Okay.
Flawless plan. And then they thought, oh, wait, who are we going to kill?
Well, I mean, if you're going to do fake IDs, couldn't you just, you could really ride the same body a couple different times,
Just keep dropping.
Just keep dropping different IDs in and put them in a different place.
How do you think this works? You think you just roll up into Prudential and be like, I got a dead person, here's his ID?
Took out an insurance claim on him like a week ago. And in the 30s, they were like, we're so busy with the Depression. You
gotta wait 2 months.
Get that body out of here. They were so busy, they didn't care. They were just like, yeah, sure, take the money. Get back to depressing.
They're like, hey, no bodies allowed in here. The sign says employees only. Sorry, that was a stretch of a joke. I was trying really hard to
No bodies allowed.
No bodies allowed. Give me some time. I'll figure that out by the end of the episode.
All right.
No, okay. So they were like, "Hey, who are we gonna kill? Right? We got to figure out who we're gonna kill." Coincidentally, there was a epidemic of alcohol poisoning during the Prohibition because everybody was making their own alcohol.
Right.
It was seriously very strong, and people were killing themselves by drinking too much of this alcohol that was too strong.
Hey, thanks for checking out this episode. We love our listeners a lot, and one way that you can let us know you're here is by leaving a podcast review. Maybe that's a 5-star thing in the Apple Podcast app. Maybe you listen on Spotify, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. We do read all the comments and reviews. We just love knowing what you think about this show. Also, if you haven't yet, go check out some of our other episodes. My current favorite is the Identical Strangers episode. It's 3 brothers or triplets who were separated at birth, unbeknownst to them or their parents, as part of a really weird experiment. So there's a lot of really fun stuff we talked about in that episode, but thank you for checking this out. Now back to this one.
So they said, perfect, let's just find a local drunk and let's stage an alcohol poisoning. And so coincidentally enough for them, there was a guy by the name of Mike Malloy who frequented Tony Marino's speakeasy.
And they were like, yeah, let's kill him.
They actually banned him from it because he had an unpaid tab that was very, very large. A little bit about...
they were like, hey, Mike, you want to make even on your tab?
A little bit about Mike Malloy. He's an Irish-born immigrant from the county of Donegal, Ireland.
Okay.
And he was a firefighter who got fired for drinking on the job.
In New York?
In New York, yeah.
Okay, so this guy's not going to go down with alcohol poisoning. I know where the story's going. I know they tried to kill him, but he's Irish and he's a firefighter, right? And so he woke up and was like,
So they called up Mike. They said, "Hey, Mike, long time no see. We miss having you around the speakeasy."
He's like, dude, I didn't pay though.
And they're like, you know what? Your tab's cleared. And honestly, we just miss having you here. So
let's rack up a bigger tab, buddy.
They just said, hey, all drinks are on the house for you. You can have whatever you want, drink as much as you want. You're clear. And so he's like, well, that sounds like a deal. And
Great.
So he shows up at like noon and they just party with him through the night. They're like, let's just keep it going. And they just keep feeding this guy more
so much
and more drinks, hoping that he'd give himself alcohol.
But with every drink he takes, he grows stronger.
He grows another head. He's a Hydra. So you were right.
He doesn't die.
He doesn't die.
Sure.
He doesn't get alcohol poisoning. He drinks a whole bunch, gets super drunk, passes out.
And they were like, yes.
And they're like, perfect, he's going to die.
Perfect. He's going to die.
Yeah, he didn't. He came back the next day at like noon and drank all day again. And this happened like 3 or 4 times.
And they were like,
and they're like,
what
we
the heck?
can't get this guy to drink himself into the grave. So they said, what are we going to do?
Ban him again?
Well, one of the friends in the group, before the Great Depression and he got laid off, he was a chemist. And so he said, hey, I've got an idea. Let's get a little light poisoning involved with this light fraud. And so
let's dabble in poisoning someone.
So he gets some wood alcohol, which is basically pure methanol. Honestly, the thing that we could describe it closest to today is antifreeze. And they're like, let's just give him a bunch of that and tell him it's this new drink that we're testing. And be like, you can test out this new drink. We think like, we're not sure if everyone else is going to have the stomach for it, but you got like an iron stomach.
Look at you.
So they get him real drunk. They start giving him this wood alcohol, and he just slams.
Someone dumps water on him. He's like, "Hey, what was that?
Hey, what's that for? Are you cold?"
They're like blowing on him. He's like, "What is going on?" And then someone's
like, "Hey, Vinny, why are you being so
weird?" That was the other one. That was the other plan. This is why we don't invite you to this anymore. I'm not invited to the murder trust anymore. Shush your mouth,
You're not talking about the murder trust.
Shut your mouth. He's next. Do we have a life insurance policy out on Vinny?
Hey, Vinny, you can drink as much as you want. No tab.
Why don't you start drinking?
So he's just pounding these wood alcohol glasses and like no effect, like just slamming them.
Yeah.
And they're like, this is going to catch up with them eventually. And at the end of the night, early in the morning, like
he's
1,
like, guys,
2
I don't
o'clock
feel
AM.
too good. They're like, yes.
They're like, perfect. So he leaves, he goes home, shows up the next day around noon, and they're like,
He's
what?
like, that was great, guys.
So
Skin is clearer, looking healthier. You know, it's like it really
give me
is.
some more of that new drink. It's great.
Woo!
Well, what some chemists have evaluated this situation since, and what they said that they think happened is they got him drunk before they gave him the wood alcohol. And traditional alcohol is ethanol. And
Okay.
ethanol breaks down methanol, and so it doesn't have any effect on your body. And so pro tip, if you ever drink antifreeze, drink a bunch of alcohol, because that is literally the cure. It breaks down the antifreeze in your stomach, and that's how you get out of there without dying. And
That's what a guy told me when I was Uber driving him once. I was like, man, you look like, are you okay? Like, you look like you've had too much. No, I drank some antifreeze earlier. And so, honestly, I'm just doing the responsible thing, you know? And I'm just drinking way more.
I'm just trying to survive.
Yeah. But hey, dude, look at you.
Proud of you, man.
Yeah.
Taking care of your body.
That's great awareness, man.
So they said they filled his body with ethanol, so that way when he drank the methanol,
Did you have a gulp of antifreeze? Here's the cure. Natty Light. Right? What if that was their commercials? It's terrible.
And so it didn't work, and they were like dumbfounded that this didn't work.
Yeah.
And so one of the guys in the group was like, hey, I heard about this guy.
I heard about this thing called bullets. There's no way he'll survive, right?
I heard about this guy who ate some oysters while drinking whiskey. And apparently there was like a chemical reaction. And so he was like, let's try this.
Man.
And so they found some
This sounds like the people who are like, dude, if you eat Pop Rocks and drink soda, your stomach will explode. Did you know that?
Have you ever heard that before? And so they said, so what they did is...
Did you know if you sleep with your contacts in, your eyes will fall out?
Let's put some contacts in his eyes. Don't tell him.
Did you know that if you put someone's hand in water while they're sleeping, they'll pee themselves? It won't kill them, but it'll be pretty funny.
So what he said is they took these rotten oysters.
Okay.
And they said, hey, forget the whiskey. Let's pickle them in wood alcohol. And so they took a vat of that wood alcohol, threw a bunch of rotten oysters in there, and let them get pickled. Is that
And
the
I
phrase?
love that
Get pickled?
I love they're so confident that they're like, this smells terrible. It looks awful. And Mike's going to eat it. He's gonna, it's kind of a given that he's gonna eat it. Like, it doesn't matter how it smells or what color it is or what it looks like. Like, Mike's probably gonna eat this, I love they took that for granted. They were like, obviously he'll eat it, no question about it. And then they were all joking around, laughing later, and Mike's like, you're killing me. Right? And they were like, we're trying, Mike.
We're trying so hard.
Yeah, we're trying to kill you so hard, man.
I mean, it is true. They totally were just like, yeah, he'll eat it.
That's what I'm saying.
And he did. A couple days later, after they pickled it,
I like this guy.
They served him this plate of these oysters, and he asked
This
for
guy
seconds.
sounds like the kind of dude who a couple years ago, when I first moved to Kansas City, one of the major news stories was that guy who rode around on a 4-wheeler naked. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Chased around on 435 and all that stuff.
Yep.
That is this guy.
Yeah, I think you're right on.
It might be him.
It's the same guy.
What if he ate enough rotten oysters that
To never die?
That's why the queen's so old. It's because she ate a lot of those.
Her secret is
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's great. Well,
We have to edit that out so people. I mean, the royal families
Bleep
kept
it.
that pretty
pretty secret.
pretty secret.
So a couple days later, after they pickled these oysters, they fed it to him, and he sure enough, just ate them. And
Here
then
comes the tray. Like, what do you mean they fed it to him? They were just like, hey, here's the newest thing we got.
yeah, they're like,
And he
hey
was,
man, we
like,
got a new
reaching
meal
into the
that we
jar,
made.
Just
Yeah, well, they made him a plate of them, and he loved them so much he asked for seconds. And they were like, well, okay. So he
Sure
ate those.
thing, Mike.
They got him drunk again. He went home, came back the next day, totally fine. Which I'm going to be honest with you, like, I don't know what they expected with that. Like, I feel like that's like he's going to get food poisoning. He's probably going to throw up.
sure.
But it's like, is he going to die? It's a ridiculous plan to me.
Well, I know what they expected. They expected him to die.
You're right.
But also,
exactly right.
these guys are not starting to sound very smart. So
the next day they said we got to up the ante.
this is all like day after day after day.
Yeah, every
Dude,
day.
imagine surviving
It's weeks.
7 assassination attempts.
And not even knowing.
And you're just like, dude, I'm having the best week. Like,
They just keep giving me free stuff.
Yeah.
So he comes into the speakeasy, and they're
What's
like,
the
"Hey, we got a
passcode?
new
What's the password there? Do we know? For a barber
time
shop?
for Malloy to die." Malloy die.
Malloy murder party of 5.
Yep, you're in. Hey,
There you
Mike.
go. He's not hungover every day,
I mean, I'm sure he's hungover, but he's Irish.
but the cure for hangover is just more.
Is more. So he comes in the speakeasy, and he gets in there, and they had made a new meal for him. They said, "Hey, we got a new dish we want you to try." And he's like, "Absolutely. You've been making
Yeah.
great food lately."
Brought it out. He ate the plate. They were like, not the dish.
That's not
The
what
dish.
we meant, Mike.
Yeah. He's like, dude, I know my dishes. You know?
And that's a good dish.
It's a good dish.
They
Chewing the porcelain.
they made a sandwich for him, and the sandwich consisted of
An old shoe.
an old can, literally an old can of sardines that had just been under the counter
Not
for
the sardines.
years.
The can. He's just biting that can.
Well, wait. There's the sardines, and then they sprinkled on a little bit of rat poison as if it was like a vinaigrette, and then they put in some broken glass, some carpet tacks, like just this absurd.
This thing's got to look. Like, what's that episode of SpongeBob where he makes that really nasty looking Krabby Patty? You know exactly what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's got to look worse than that, right?
I don't know. But sure enough, good old Mike Malloy eats the whole thing.
No, eat the whole thing?
And it's like, hey, this is pretty good.
Hey, it's pretty good. He's bleeding.
Must have bit my tongue.
No way.
They just can't kill this guy.
And honestly, I have not eaten that sandwich, but I made a kid eat that when I was a youth pastor. And so, like, youth camp, dude, that's wild.
Yeah. That is a pretty youth pastory sandwich.
Yeah. Sardines and broken glass.
Next time you go to Subway, be like, hey, you guys got any broken glass? I don't
If you
see
eat
it.
this whole thing, I'll dye my hair blonde. It's like every youth pastor. If you eat that whole thing, I'll do something very trendy. You're like, what are you talking about, dude? That's not even.
I'll buy a Gucci sweater.
Yeah, dude, I bet my friend a pair of sneakers you wouldn't eat that, so. Oh my gosh.
That's so funny. Yeah, so this guy's just not dying. And the murder trust gets together.
And they're like,
They're like,
guys,
hey, none of this is working. We need
we
to,
can't call ourselves the murder trust anymore.
unless we can murder somebody.
We can't murder anybody.
But we can't be the murder trust if our murders aren't trustworthy. And so they said, what are we going to do? We gotta, this isn't working. And they said, hey.
Are you doing all of them? You're going, hey.
They said, we got off the rails, guys. We didn't do what we know how to do. We're over here trying to poison a guy. When
We're not good at poisoning.
We're not poisoners.
We're not poisoners. We're freezers.
We're freezers. We shouldn't have tried to poison the guy. That's not what we have experience in.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks again for listening to this episode. If you like our show, make sure you follow us on social at TILLN Podcast or subscribe anywhere where you're listening to right now, whether that's YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. And if you want more, we do have a Patreon you can support us on. In there, you get all sorts of perks like ad-free episodes, early access to our content, and even a Discord with our hosts and producers. So we'd love for you to check that out. All you got to do is text TILLN to 66866. That's TILLN to 66866. But thanks again for checking us out.
So the next day, Malloy shows up to the speakeasy. They get him really drunk. And they say,
He
hey.
ate another one of those sandwiches unbeknownst to them.
Yeah,
Right? They didn't make
made
it.
himself.
He asked
He's
the
looking
bartender.
through the cabinet. Hey, where's your carpet tags?
Where's that? Well, I see only broken glass. Picks up a glass, smashes it. They come in and he's just like, here's one more. He's like, he's doing the whole thing, right? He cuts it into 4 pieces, right? He uses toothpicks to make it a club sandwich, eats the toothpick with it, right? You know what I'm talking about? He's the kind of guy that asks for extra toothpicks in his club sandwich because he likes the way it feels in his mouth. You know? This guy's bonkers.
Hey, Tony, you're out of rat poison.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, that's...
He's got his feet in the fryers, right? Because it feels good, right?
Oh, this is
He's
a foot bath?
he's exfoliating his feet with the air with the French fryers.
My toenail's stuck in the fryer. Yeah, so they get him really drunk again.
Yeah.
And they...
Doesn't sound like they need to.
They
Sounds like he'll
convince-
do it. They convince him that what?
They convince him that there's like some event they're going to go to.
So Vinny was right. Vinny tried to do this earlier to him.
I don't know. I don't know if they wanted to go bowling or like I don't know what they said, but they were like they're like, hey Mike, want to go bowling? And he's like, yeah. And so they walk him out to the park, and they wait till he passes out, and lay him out on a park bench. This is February in New York, very cold.
Yeah.
And they take his shirt, they dump 5 gallons of water on him, and they just peace out. And so they expected, there we go, we got him. we froze him. That's what we know how to do.
Yeah.
The next day, they're hanging out in the speakeasy.
Yeah, and Vinny's like, hey, did you guys kill that guy yet? And they're like, well, we dumped some water on him last night. And Vinny's like, that's what I tried to do a week ago.
Yeah, and you guys have been giving me rat poison ever since. And then right on cue, Mike Malloy walks into the speakeasy.
Arms frozen up.
Yeah, with a brand new shirt.
Hey, guys. Can't put his arms down. It's frozen.
I don't know what happened, but I'm frozen. Something froze me last night. Can you turn the air fryer so I'm going to thaw?
Slowly goes in like you do to a hot tub, you know, where you try to like
So you
slowly
just
get
lean
in.
real slow.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
He's laying in the fire. There's a fireplace. He's laying in it. He's like, sorry guys, I just gotta thaw out real quick.
into it.
He's like, oh yeah, last night was pretty crazy, right guys? Like just engulfed in flames. You were like, oh, what is going on, dude? Picking little carpet tacks out of his teeth.
So what happened was the crew went home. He sat there frozen and drunk for a little bit. And then the police found him. And they were like, we'll go take this guy to a homeless shelter. They drop him off there. The homeless shelter gives him new clothes, thaws him out, and then sends him on his merry way. And he wakes up the next morning, no memory of any of it. And is just like, yeah, I woke up in this homeless shelter, and they gave me a new shirt. And then he's like, you guys want a drink? So at this point, the murder trust is frustrated. They can't do what they're good at. They can't do what they're not good at. They're just failing left and right.
This is not worth their investment in time now, because now they're looking. I mean, you really like break this down, right? This is how freelancers work. You know, you get a good chunk of that insurance fraud money, right? But when you break it down to the amount of hours that you're putting into these jobs,
Well, you also got to
now
think.
they're doing minimum wage.
You also got to think all the alcohol that they've spent
That's
on
what
this
I'm
guy.
saying.
Like, there's the cost of this is starting to push.
And it's hard to
payout.
write that off.
Yeah.
You know? You can't write off murder expenses on your taxes.
Can I get on a call with the TurboTax guy? Hey, yeah. So we were murdering this guy earlier this year, and
What do I label this in QuickBooks if I use this to take somebody out?
So they said, you know what? We need to hire an expert.
They got to bring somebody else in.
So they hire a mob hitman. And the mob hitman is like, oh, this is easy. He's like, you're a taxi driver.
He's like, you guys tried freezing him?
what alcohol?
Yeah.
Sardines. He's like, this is easy. You're a taxi cab driver. And he's like,
Who's a taxi cab driver?
one of the murder trusters. And so he's like, let's
hit him with the cab.
Get an event together. You guys are going to meet up somewhere. Park the cab around the corner. When he walks around the corner, hit him. You know?
Oh, I was right.
And so they set this up. They staged this thing for him to meet them at some place on the other side of town and take the cab out there. And as he walks by, they hit him at 45 miles an hour, run him over, and they freaked out. They were like, oh, he is super dead. And so they ran because they had never done anything this violent before.
Yeah.
Like they killed somebody and they tried to kill this guy a lot. But everything that they've done to this point
How
was like
many murder attempts
petty
is this?
murder.
This is like 9 attempts.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of attempts. And so they ran. They freaked out because this was the most violent murder that they had ever committed. I mean, these are all this is a guy who was a chemist, a taxi cab driver. These aren't cold-blooded killers. These are just
I do
desperate
like that they
dudes.
had to hire a consultant. You know? We got to bring in the big guns. And when they said that, they should have thought, guns. We got to bring in the big guns. Oh, really?
Really?
That would be way easier. No,
good
no,
idea.
no, no. The mob guy. Oh.
The mob. Okay.
Well, I guess they still needed to look like an accident for the insurance.
Yeah. So they were cautiously optimistic at this point. They
Like, yeah, we hit him with the cab last night.
And they went back to the speakeasy and waited through the day. He didn't show up. Next day, didn't show up. Next day, didn't show up. So they said, okay, surely he actually died. And so they started trying to go find him because
So
here's the
3
thing.
days
They
he
had to
didn't
get
show up?
They had to get the paperwork.
I was just trying to get the timeline right. Friday, they hit him with a cab. Saturday, they were feeling pretty confident. Sunday was just around the corner.
We're hanging out in the speakeasy Sunday morning, and the door literally rolls off the hinges. They're like, who opens doors like that?
They went out searching for him. And somebody said, why do you look here?
There was some gardener in the city. There's no garden anywhere nearby. And he's like, psst, guys, it's me. It's me, Michael Malloy. I'm gardening.
Me, Michael Malloy. It's me, Michael Malloy. Well, the cab driver picks him up, drove 7 miles, didn't even realize it was him, right? We're just
That guy didn't even tip.
Are we doing all the stories? And someone was like, all right, I don't believe that's him until I see the carpet picks in his teeth. All right? Okay, Thomas. This is what that guy meant. We had a guy who was really annoyed who sent us so many emails about how many Bible-related jokes we make.
Yeah,
And this is what he meant.
yeah, it was like you're blasphemous.
Oh, man, honestly, I would hope that people who listen to it are encouraged by how well we know the scriptures.
Yeah, we understand. All right, so here's the deal. This put them in the position where, speaking of Bible jokes, we talked about this in Bible school a lot. Where is the body? You have to know where is the body to prove.
Well, yeah, they can't claim the insurance if they don't know.
Yeah, you have to bring the body to Prudential. Say, look, he's
You
dead.
gotta bring it in.
You hop on the call. They say, hey, you got.
Yeah.
I'd like to claim a life insurance policy. You got the body.
So you're saying
Show me the body.
that the other place that says no bodies allowed, employees only, you're saying that this life insurance place is employees and you have you have to bring a government ID.
Yeah.
You got to have a check, right? And you have to have the body with you.
Yeah.
The documents they require are crazy.
It's pretty
these days.
insane. It's like, can I have a photocopy of the dead body?
Yeah.
I'll lay them down on my copy
You have
machine.
to have the original.
You have to have the. I don't have the original. I'll overnight it. I'll overnight the body.
That'll work for us.
That'll
Can I
work.
submit it electronically?
Yeah. Yeah. Can I just take a picture on my phone and send it to you?
That's worse. That's worse, I think.
Oh my God. Why do you have a picture of your dead uncle on your phone? It's an insurance thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot to take it off. I forgot to delete that picture. I can delete it.
Okay. So, where's the body? They got to find the body.
Yeah, where is it, dude? Who's got this thing? They go to the mall and it's a mannequin. Someone's propped it up.
They go
Nordstrom took him.
They start going to all the local hospitals.
Oh.
Being like, hey, did this guy check in? It's my brother. I haven't been able to find him. And they're checking all these places. And they can't find him. They've been to every hospital. No one has a record of him. They're looking around, trying to track this guy down. They call insurance, and they try to open the claim, but insurance is like, well, we got to see the body.
Yeah. They went to Sherwin-Williams, the paint store, and they found him just scooping paint and drinking it. They're like, oh, hey, Michael Malloy. He's double-handed.
Two hands just lapping
two
it up.
hands lapping up some paint. Why not? I mean, the guy's crazy, right?
If he laps like a dog, send him home.
It's another Bible joke.
So they try to open up the insurance, but they can't. And they're looking everywhere, right?
Right.
One day they're back in the speakeasy and they're like, I think we're gonna have to do another. I think we're gonna have to pick out another drunk. And as they're coming up with their plan, trying to pick out who they're gonna pick out, the door opens. Mike Malloy walks in. Couple casts
On crutches.
clearly
Hey, guys.
pretty injured. You guys are never gonna believe
Sorry.
this.
I got hit by a cab.
Sorry, it's been hard. I saw you haven't heard from me in a few weeks.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, yours outside. Did you hit a deer or something?
Yeah, you got a big old dent.
You got
I
your
checked. It
headlights
actually
out.
matches my back. It's
I
kind of
leaned
crazy.
against it and I was like, "Whoa, that's my butt." I know my butt when I see it. You know?
So he's just like, yeah, you guys are never gonna believe this. I got hit by a car. I was in the hospital for a few weeks. They're like, what hospital? We're like, we were at that hospital. They called the hospital. They're like, hey, we came looking for our friend and he was there. And they're like, we forgot to put it in the records.
That's also what I love about the 30s. People are like, "Oh yeah,
We forgot. Sorry. Might be.
I forgot to write it down."
So the problem persists.
Yeah.
Michael is still alive. Injured, but still alive. And so frustrated and coming close to not profiting on this whole endeavor, the crew decides they're going to get him drunk again and hope that works. Just kidding. They're going to get him drunk again, take him into one of the back rooms of Speakeasy, and connect a hose to one of the coal vents because they had the coal heaters.
Okay.
And just hold it on his mouth until he dies of carbon monoxide poisoning.
Okay.
Took about an hour, and then he went unconscious, and they were like, all right, he's dead. Took him to the same doctor from before, and they said, hey, we'll give you a cut.
If you say it was carbon monoxide poisoning?
Say it was pneumonia. Which to me, I'm like, that was a
This
risky-
man is in casts.
He got pneumonia.
He got pneumonia.
So the doctor's like, sure. So he writes a death certificate, got pneumonia. They send it off to all these insurance agencies, and the insurance agencies are like, all right, here's your money. And they got, $3,500, which today would be $73,000. But they had spent about $2,000 in alcohol and rotten sardines and stuff like that. So profit about $1,500, less than the first murder. But they got away with this one.
And then 2 months later.
Yeah, a couple months later, Mike, or not Mike, I believe it was...
So he died, though. He actually did die this time.
He did die.
Oh, dang it.
Joseph Murphy.
I was really hoping you're going to be like, yeah, he pulled through.
Nah. Joseph Murphy got arrested on unrelated charges, totally unrelated. And the insurance company was looking at this case, and they're like, something's a little fishy about this. And so they tried to contact Joseph, but nobody...
They're like, this guy...
They couldn't get a hold
was
of
at the
him.
homeless shelter a couple nights before that. Got hit by a cab. And then pneumonia.
And then got pneumonia. They're like, there's some strange stuff going on here. And so they started trying to contact Joseph for further questioning.
Sure.
But he's in jail because he got arrested on some other unrelated charge. Probably alcohol or whatever in the prohibition. So he's in jail. They can't contact him. So they contact the local authorities and they say, hey, we want to look a little further into this. Say, we start with the body. You want to examine it. So they call in another coroner for a second opinion. And the body is clearly carbon monoxide poisoned.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, that wasn't pneumonia. They're like, this was carbon monoxide poisoning. And they're like, oh, well, that's strange. So then they did some further investigating.
Of the doctor.
They started asking everybody who knew Mike Malloy. And the nice thing about having 5 people and then a separate doctor and a separate mob person involved in your murder is they all talked about Mike Malloy and how hard he was to kill.
Just openly?
Oh, yeah, we killed
the
this
bar?
guy. We killed this guy.
Like, dude, we tried to take this guy out, and then the door opens, and they're like, oh, hey, sure. That's him. Yeah. You know that guy that crawled in the fire yesterday?
We've been trying to kill him for months. He won't die.
Invincible.
And someone heard and was like, oh, yeah, that was those guys. And they
Yeah, I think I heard down at the... But then you're in a real conundrum, right? Because you got to be like... down at the...
Wendy's.
Barber...
Nope, haven't heard about him. Never met Mike Malloy in my
never
life.
mind. Sorry.
No idea what you're talking about.
Is that the... Draco, right? From Harry Potter, right? Draco Malloy? That's what I was thinking of? That's what I was thinking of. I'm sorry, detective. Yeah. No, I never knew him. Are you sure? I swear.
Sure.
I never
swear.
knew him. No, I'm pretty sure I saw it. No, I never knew him. You know, it's another Bible joke.
The detective's daughter walks in, is like, you know that guy.
You know that guy. Okay, this is getting real ridiculous.
So they connect them to it.
Yeah.
They arrest them. They try them. And it was actually 2 of the doctor and one of the other guys in the group got lengthy prison sentences. I don't know exactly how long, but the other 4 got sentenced to death in the electric chair.
Oh my gosh.
So like they weren't messing around with this. It's pretty crazy. All for what today would be $73,000 that they split 6 ways.
Yeah.
So they did not. It was not worth it for them. Not that killing anybody's ever.
What's
worth
crazy
it.
is that they all survived the electric chair.
They're the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
But
And
they
then the
got,
government was like, hit him with a cab.
they're like, hey, we got a consultant. He said we hired this consultant. He said hit him with a cab.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So Mike Malloy just didn't die. These people got labeled the murder trust. And then pretty quickly the government was like, we should get rid of prohibition. This was stressful.
Wow.
I feel so bad for Mike Malloy though, because this whole time this poor guy thinks he's just got this great group of friends, and he's all like super lucky.
Yeah.
They're giving me all this free
It's
food
kind of like
and
that kid
drinks.
that hung out with the cool kids, but you knew the cool kids were all making fun of him.
They're just messing with him. They were just
Yeah.
trying to kill him and cash out on a
You know
life
all
insurance
about that.
policy. Yeah, rich kids. So yeah, poor Mike Malloy. Anyways,
But hey, I mean, to be honest though, didn't he die thinking he had friends?
That is a good point. Yeah, he thought everyone loved him. Well, probably not when they were shoving a hose down his throat,
Yeah, I guess
connected
not.
to the cold.
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, at the very end, he was like, "This is."
Wait a minute.
He's
What?
like, I don't like this drink.
This isn't as good as that sandwich you gave me.
Yeah, give me the sandwich instead. But yeah, a rumor has it that there's a barber shop in the Bronx, and if you go to the back of that barber shop and you pull Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone off the shelf,
Got it.
at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then you can still hear the sound of a fiddle off.
Hey, if you like this episode, we've got more of them you can watch here, or just some highlights, some of our favorite parts from episodes before. Please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any future episodes, and leave a comment and let us know how we're doing. So thank you for being a part of this community. We'll see you again on the next episode of Things I Learned Last Night.